Everybody remembers Ecco the Dolphin, but very few people have actually beat Ecco the Dolphin. I just recently did a playthrough on this game on my Revenge of the Rage Quit series, and let me tell you, this is probably the hardest, most brutal game I have ever played. Today I'm going to tell you guys why so many people quit Ecco the Dolphin, why it felt impossible as a kid, and how a game about a freaking dolphin somehow turned into one of the most brutal and confusing and possibly scariest experiences on the Segagenesis. So at first glance, when you look at the cover art, Ecco does not look threatening at all. There's no guns, there's no monsters on the box art, there's no weapons. It's a dolphin, he's swimming through a nice, what looks like a peaceful ocean. A lot of parents bought it for their kids in the 90s because you look at it, oh, it's a little sweet dolphin on the cover. But no, within 30 minutes, most of us were completely lost. This game gave you no tutorial, there's no go here arrow or no clear goal. You start off the game, your pod gets sucked into the storm, and boom, thus our adventure begins, and suddenly you're tossed into an ocean with zero idea on what you're supposed to do next. That confusion alone is where a lot of people first checked out. And one of the big reasons people probably quit Ecco early is because you drown, and you drown constantly. Air in this game is the real final boss. Dude, I can't. No, we're running out of air, man. Oh, we're about to die. Get out the way. Get out the way. Is there air up here? I don't know where I'm going. Oh my god, dude, we almost died. For some reason, you're this dolphin, but your dolphin can only probably be underwater for like 1 minute. After 1 minute, you are going to drown, and you will drown a lot in this game. Air management in Ecco is unforgiving. You miss the surface by a second, you're dead. You don't notice an air pocket, you're dead. You explore too long, you're dead. Because one of the worst things is that this game punishes you for being curious. Is that health? Is that air? It hurts you! It hurts you! Why did I do that? Oh, the end of the level's right there. One more hit and I'm dead. Oh, you... If you want to explore, you're gonna die. If you want to learn a level, you're gonna die. For a game that's about swimming freely, Ecco makes the ocean feel like it's claustrophobic. Now don't get me wrong, I am not trying to bash this game by any means. I actually had a really good time playing this game. It's very, very rewarding when you finally accomplish a level that you've been stuck on for a while, and I actually do recommend it to people that like to have a good challenge in video games. One of the other reasons a lot of people probably quit Ecco is because of the level design. The level designs are not straightforward by any means. They're all underwater mazes. They're like these big areas that have multiple branching paths. A lot of the paths lead to dead ends, so they'll go absolutely nowhere. Your progress sometimes requires doing something extremely specific, like talking to the right sea creature or performing an action that you never was told existed, because this game absolutely explains nothing to you. So like there's some of these areas where you gotta use your sonar, and you got like this bike ring that's in the ocean, and you gotta like hit it with the sonar, and you gotta make that thing travel all the way to these boulders that are blocking your path. But the game doesn't tell you that. So until you finally figure it out, then you're like, oh, this is what I gotta do. But that's not it. The hardest part is actually trying to accomplish this. So when you're hitting these rings, a lot of times if you hit it just one wrong way, it's gonna get stuck in the level. Then you gotta go super far to off screen this thing, and then it reappears, and then you gotta try it all over again. And you gotta get it to the boulder in a very quick amount of time, because if you don't, it disappears. This game was a huge rental game in the 1990s, but it was probably a death sentence at the same time. The game never tells you what it wants. Most Genesis games back then were pretty straightforward. You know, you had your 2D platformers, or you had your shoot 'em ups or something like that. Ecco just doesn't tell you what it wants to do. A lot of the NPCs speak in riddles, hints are vague, and objectives are hidden behind trial and error. And I cannot state that enough, trial and error. Because there was this one level where there was this block, and I had to get this block across 3 gaps, and every time you made the block go across one, it goes to the bottom. And my goodness, I still to this day I could not figure out exactly what you're supposed to do to pick up this block properly. I had to keep repeating myself over and over and over to try to pick this block up. And then when I finally did, you have to carefully guide the block up and then somehow push it over to the right before it falls all the way down. and then rinse and repeat for the next couple of gaps until you can get it all the way to the right. But during the whole time you're doing this, you got these crazy huge crabs and they keep coming out of nowhere to attack you. And so while you're trying to get this block, not only are you fending off crabs, but you got your air. I can't tell you how many times I died right here because my air ran out, or I died because of a crab. So you also get no feedback during the game where it's telling you you're on the right track. So a lot of times players assume they were doing something wrong when really the game was just expecting you to know. That frustration pushed a lot of players to quit before they ever even saw the second half of the game. Now let's go ahead and talk about the atmosphere. The tone in this game I think is freaking terrifying, especially for a kid. I know when I played this game as a kid, this game scared the crap out of me. When nothing is attacking you, Ecco still feels very unsettling. The ocean is very empty. The music can be very eerie at times. I don't know what I'm looking for here. I already forgot. I do not remember this game. What's down here? Even as an adult, I thought this game felt very creepy. There's long stretches where you're just trying to figure out what to do, and you're just hearing that eerie music playing in the background. Like, this game is technically classified as an action adventure, but man, I'd say this can also be a survival horror experience, because while you're in the vastness and loneliness of this ocean, you're managing your air at the same time, so you're trying not to drown. That's like a survival horror aspect if you ask me, and that alone can make the game feel really, really stressful. And then you have the story of the game. The story goes way deeper than it looks. At first you think the story's simple, right? You just gotta find your pod that got swept up by the storm. So as you set out to find your pod, you come across this orca who tells you to seek out the big blue, who's this huge blue whale that's supposed to be very wise. He then tells you to seek out this ancient life form called the asteroids, one of the oldest life forms in the world. It's dino DNA! Look at this! Oh, is this the asteroid? And then the asteroid hits you with the bombshell truth and what the game is actually about. Ecco's pod wasn't taken by a natural disaster, they were abducted by an alien race known as the Vortex. Yes, Ecco the Dolphin is a freaking time-traveling alien invasion story. The Vortex are parasitic beings that harvest planets, wiping out life across time. And in order to stop them, Ecco has to travel back in the past 55 million years, find the asteroid in the prehistoric era, get the globe from him, bring it back to the asteroid in the present era, who will then be able to grant you the power through your sonar to destroy the Vortex. And that's where we begin the final act of this game, which is where a lot of people quits. The final act of this game is probably one of the hardest in the 16-bit era, if not the hardest of the 16-bit era. And that is where we hit Welcome to the Machine. This is where you come across this auto-scroll level where you don't know which way the screen is going and you get smashed over and over and over again. This level is nothing but trial and error. It is completely trial and error until you get the memorization down packed where you can finally remember which way the screen is gonna go. And not to mention, you're also gonna die due to these alien life forms that look like xenomorphs that are just popping out of nowhere. This level literally goes on for at least a good 5 or 6 minutes. You have to do this thing flawlessly. And then, when you finally make it past this part, you end up at the final boss. And at the final boss, you literally have to figure out how to kill him. But here's one of the most excruciating parts of this game. You die at the final boss, you have to go all the way back to the beginning of Welcome to the Machine and do it all over again. I could not stress how annoyingly difficult this was. During my playthrough of this game, I was almost broken at this part. I had done this part over and over and over for hours before I finally freaking got it. And when you get it, oh my god, is it rewarding. Oh my... Oh, and that was our last run at it. Finally, oh my god. Swim, Ecco, swim. Are we playing? No, it's the game. We got it! Your song will echo throughout the vast ocean. But Ecco the Dolphin to this day stands out because it refused to be safe. It didn't care if players were confused, it didn't care if kids got scared, it trusted the player to figure it out. It was an era that was dominated by mascots and simple narratives, but Ecco delivered on environmental themes, on isolation, time travel, and the existential dread, and there's nothing else quite like it. So Ecco the Dolphin wasn't just a hard, intentionally oppressive, mysterious, and emotionally strange game. game, that is exactly why people still talk about it for over 30 years later. So whether you love this game, you hate this game, or you bounced off of it completely, Ecco is one of the most unique experiences the Sega Genesis and the 16-bit era in general ever offered.